Oh, this is 7 o'clock.
It is 7 o'clock. And a very good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Lyceum nights. Just give it a couple of moments here and wait for a few people to join in. It's always exciting.
Yeah.
One day nobody's going to join.
Yeah.
And we've just sat here for an hour talking to ourselves.
Yeah, that could be nice.
I can think of a worse way to spend a Saturday night. Oh no, somebody's in.
Yeah. So that means we can't speak to ourselves.
Yes. And as mediums, we do tend to be speaking to ourselves quite a lot.
Yeah. So that's why I called, when you see a medium speak to themselves, it's just what we call a staff meeting.
So, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another Lyceum night. Huge pleasure. This gentleman here has been with me, feels like forever. No.
No, it has been a wonderful week, and I'm so happy to have been invited to be part of this wonderful week and together with all these lovely people.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lawrence.
No, thank you, Fredrik. What you brought to this church has been above price. So we have a Lyceum. The lovely Jamie is out there. Hello, Jamie. Again, thank you to Gaynor for all the baking. The shortbread is being very well received. Jen, Julie, how are you? How are you? So, our Lyceum night. We talk about have you seen any of our Lyceum nights?
I have, yes.
You have?
Yeah.
Good. That was the right answer. We talk about things relating to spiritualism.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been very much in the energy I've found over the last 4 or 5 weeks now, really. The topics have been about educational aspects.
Yeah,
and it tailors in really nicely. Lovely Fredrik. Hello, Margaret. How are you?
Hi, Margaret.
Looking good. Oh, goodness. I was going to change your glasses, love. Yeah, it's been about the educational side, and it tallies in lovely because we've just finished a wonderful 5-day course with you.
Mm-hmm.
And seriously, now I'm going to start talking serious and put flippant Lawrence to one side. People who know me know that I don't blow smoke. You know, if you could do better, I may suggest that. I can't with you.
Thank you very much.
I seriously can't. The whole week, everything, and the little hidden lessons that we learned. Anybody who's organised a course may understand what we're talking about. Has just been stupendous. And to actually see the growth in those people. I sat with you when you did the opening introduction, and all those people were sat there. And I sat with you again when we were doing the final summarization.
Yeah.
And there were 10 different people there.
Yeah,
it was incredible. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was amazing and lovely to see the growth in each and every one and how they had progressed and developed within themselves.
Yes.
So, and also understanding for themselves the journey they had been into. So it was just amazing to be part of this. And also, it's not about the teacher just or the one who organizing everything. It's about the people themselves who wanted to be vulnerable, who wanted to be the one they are, and also to show this vulnerability and work from the highest and the best.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it highlighted, as I said, been very much in the talks over the last 4 or 5 weeks. The value of a good standard of education within our movement.
Mm-hmm.
You were working on the development of people on their advanced mediumship, their evidential mediumship, philosophical mediumship, their all sorts of mediumship there. But the real value was you as a tutor really engaged with people. You treated everybody equally. There were no favoritisms. There were no non-favoritisms. You really... Jamie, who's in the room tonight, said something that's very interesting. He said, there's very few tutors I've seen who can actually link in with you when you're working in that evidential state and sort of guide you into that. So, we are coming up again. Spiritual, all of you know me and have seen me, know that I am incredibly passionate about spiritualism. Part of being passionate about that, I also will talk about things that I don't believe appertain to spiritualism. I will also talk about things where we could seriously do better, or the name is being denuded by stuff that doesn't belong within our movement. It's ancillary to. But this week, the level of engagement, the response and cooperation with all those who attended was absolutely beautiful to see. It seriously was. You as a teacher, where did your teaching roots come from in this?
I think, to be true and honest, it's very much where you feel drawn to understand your own ability, but it's more or less coming from in yourself and your own self-development, and when you're sitting for the spirit and allowing them to guide and put you where you are meant to be. And of course, it's also depending on the teacher and the people you're meeting along your journey. Because without those fantastic people we have out there, we wouldn't have the quality of teacher that we have. And it's not only that all the best teachers are in one place. You find all the good teachers everywhere. And where I started my journey is very much on SNUI, where I met incredible people who helped me to develop and also bring a joy of understanding. And one of the person abroad who put most impact in me, I would say it's actually Margaret Challenger from Wales. The way she took me in some way under her wings, invited me to come to Wales and allowed me to see the real environment, but also taught me how mediumship should be and showing the variety of mediumship. I think that week I spent there taught me so much.
Yeah.
And I'm not negotiating any other tutors or anything that I have had, because every one of them has been very helpful and very understanding for me. But the week I spent, I love to be in Scotland. I met wonderful people up in Scotland as well, and it feels like my second home. But the week in Wales, how shall I say, taught me so much on the base to work forward with.
Yeah.
And also opened up the understanding for me. And I think I can't thank Paul and Margaret Challenger enough for everything they helped me through during that week.
No, see, I wasn't aware of that. I was aware that you were aware of Margaret and Paul through doing a Zoom. I had no idea. I fell in that. Lovely Margaret's in the room tonight. Please just shut up if it's embarrassing you. I came across Margaret in a YouTube talk, and I was so impressed by the honesty and the openness about talking about our movement. And I think that's something we really need to be. All the great tutors, and there's many good tutors in here tonight, many good. So big shout out to all of you. I find myself, and with my nature, that a straight talking tutor is the one that will teach me the most.
Yeah. and no nonsense.
Yeah.
And also teachers who can be brutally honest in a way to help a person to grow.
Yeah.
And only teachers who are comfortable in their own mediumship will allow the students to grow, because it doesn't matter if your students become better medium than yourself, because we're all working with the same energy, and you have been part of that student's journey.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, and there will still be people, even if your students become better medium than yourself, it doesn't matter, because there is enough people in the world to help and support in the journey or work with them.
Yeah. And lovely Margaret's responded, thankfully not shut up Lawrence. So thank you for that, Margaret. And really good point. The student has to be willing and have the right motives for their development. And Fredrik certainly was one of those great students.
Thank you, Margaret.
How nice is that?
Yeah.
Really lovely, pertinent points in there. I do love that. The first part, the student has to be willing. Because have you come across this with in your teaching experience where, all right, I'm coming to you because you're going to teach me to be the best medium in the world.
Yep.
Yeah. So I can be rich and famous.
Yes.
And I am a good medium anyway, and you're going to make me better.
Absolutely.
But no, don't say that to me, because you're offending me. I might be offended, or no, you're wrong. Don't tell me that. How dare you say that about mine? And you do, don't you? You get
and
challenges.
And when you're meeting people like that, you have to be careful how you're wording your feedback and how you're wording your words to them, because you can destroy their own plans.
Yeah.
And you also need to bring the reality to people, and deal with them in the best way you can.
Yeah. Neil Payne's got a comment there, and hello Neil.
Hi Neil.
Being honest, but doing it in a compassionate, empathetic way. Yeah. Okay. We have had that lesson this week.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting to be able to work, and I actually found that experience for me on my development, because I can be very blunt. I know that, and I do work on it seriously. You may not believe it, but it's true. I do work on it. But I worked on it in a different way. And actually the resolution was lovely, and it was resolved.
Yep. Everything has worked extremely well the whole week.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to lovely Margaret's comment there, and have the right motives for their development. Now, I seriously love that. This is my feeling, and feel free to disagree, because you've disagreed with me all week on everything. So that's absolutely fine. Yeah. I can go wind that clock up. It's far too slow. Obviously, the motives behind it. Now, I find often the student will approach the development of their work without taking into consideration the intelligence of the spirit world, because you're not doing this alone. You're working hand in hand with the spirit world. So it's all very well and good to say, I want to be the best medium, I want to be better than them, I want to be the star of this show, I want to be able to command whatever fees I want. But what about the spirit world?
Yeah.
Have you actually sat with the spirit world and gone, where can we go?
Yeah, I mean, it's not about me and my wishes as a human being. Of course, we all have dreams, we all have goals that we want to reach for. But in the end of the day, is the cooperation between yourself and the spirit world. And as I said, that there is no I'm probably going to upset plenty of people here, but that's absolutely fine. There is no teacher in the world who can teach how to work with the spirit world.
No.
The only one who can teach you truly to work with the spirit world is the spirit world. And they also know the qualifications you have. They also know the ability you have better and almost than anyone else. So to be able to grow and reaching the stars, or try to be the best medium you can be, it's not about being the best medium in the world. It's about being the best medium you can be. Because when we do a private sitting or we're standing on a platform, the only one who can tell you the message was brilliant, it's absolutely the best message I have got, is the recipient.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the 50 people or 100 people in the congregation might think, oh, this is too general, this is too bad, and this is nonsense. But for the recipient who received the message, it might be the agreement between the two before the one passing to the spirit world.
Yeah.
So the only one who can tell you if the message was good is the recipient. And for that recipient, you will be the best medium in the world, because you brought that forward that the recipient wanted to hear. And to be the best medium in the world for everyone, that's impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. It is very, very true. We can be the best medium we can be for the spirit world.
Yeah.
Is my approach.
Yeah.
Whenever I work, I get up there to do my best for the spirit world.
Yeah.
This side of life, do you know what? I have much easier ride on the other side of life than I do on this side of life at times. But seriously, yeah, good answer. Thank you. The lovely Jamie has got a question there. And he's just asking, Fredrik, how do you see the quality and character of evidential mediumship changing in the next decade or so? Or indeed, do you see a change coming in?
I hope in some way it will go back how it has been, but in a more and it will develop in a more finer way, because I'm a strong believer in evidential mediumship, and I have nothing against psychic mediumship or people who are working on a psychic level, but I do love to listen to the evidence. I love to listen to the philosophy from the medium, which you can't bring on a psychic level. So I do hope it will continue increase with the evidential mediumship, and those mediums who are starting their journey and working with themselves and working with their own mediumship understand the importance of bring the loved ones to life again. And when you go to a normal church, you say goodbye to your loved ones. When you're visiting a spiritual church or a spiritual center, you welcome them back. And that's the feeling the recipient in the church or the center or wherever it might be should feel.
Yeah.
They should be reassured, my mom, my dad, my child was there today. And that can you only deliver when you deliver the evidence from the spirit world.
Indeed.
So that's where I hope it will go towards. But also, of course, the combination of psychic mediumship and evidential mediumship. And I do believe in a mix of both. And I think both are very much needed.
Yeah. Yeah. We had quite an interesting discussion. We were talking about the differences, obviously, between a psychic reading, an evidential reading, and a spiritual assessment.
Yep.
And just in the conversation, I just found myself saying, well, actually, as churches and centres, maybe they want to look now a little bit more at saying, well, if you get somebody coming in who's totally brand new, no idea about spiritualism, maybe a psychic reading may be a good inception point, but explaining the differences. we experienced it on our half day out doing private sittings. Because we were low in numbers, I just started approaching people in the street saying, "Psst, you want a private reading?" As you do. And we had two lovely people come in who had no idea about spiritualism or what was going on, but they had a really beautiful experience. So much so that they got back in contact and things may be moving there. But yeah, Jamie, with your question, you know what? I don't think it's for anybody to sort of like give a guideline on how things are going to change, because in this new world after COVID, everything has changed and will continue to change. And I think sometimes our limitations that we put on the spirit world have also fallen away. So that would be very interesting.
And because it made a big change when everything was locked down and you only worked online. And it was a good learning curve, and it also shows people, the recipients and people who are listening to mediumship, that there is no limitation for where the spirit world are able to communicate. No matter where in the world you live, it's the same language of energy, in the same language of communication.
Yeah, definitely. But it also taught us as mediums that we can do that.
Yeah.
You know, we with probably without thinking, we conditioned ourselves that we work on platform. You know, if I'm wearing my lucky tie and if I've not eaten anything before, you know, we put all these little caveats in there. And that's when our mediumship works. And suddenly we found that sitting on our dining room table, we invite the spirit world in and bang, they're there.
Yeah.
So it's like, whoa, hang on a minute. What else can you do? So there are a couple of good, lovely questions here. Lisa Irving, please hang on, my darling. Do not lose heart. We will be getting to you very shortly, because that's excellent. The lovely Sue Townsend. Where do we know Sue Townsend from?
I don't know. No.
Rings a bell.
Yeah, it does.
A lovely Sue Townsend who's on the course this week. Fredrik, do you find that spirit encourage or offer thoughts as to what may be useful to study to facilitate your spiritual work as part of the team?
Oh gosh, I would say yes to that if you're open to it, but it's also to be able to listen to what the spirit world is telling you, or what kind of picture it's showing you. I mean, if you're sending up the question in which direction you should go, or what to study, I'm quite sure they won't give you the title of the book, but they might show you a direction. You might read something who answer the question you have, or you might hear a song on the radio who answer the question you have. And when you're sending out your question, just be very, very open to how the spirit will responding to you, because not everyone are lucky to hear the spirit world very, very strongly outside yourself or within yourself. But most and foremost, you have an intuition, and listen to your intuition and see in which direction your soul or yourself feel drawn to. Because if you're pointing out all the areas within mediumship or spirituality and go through them within your mind, there will be 1, 2, maybe 3 areas who feel stronger to you, and there is your answer.
Yeah. And also listen to the subtleties.
Yes.
The more you open and blend with spirit, and we're not making things fit.
No.
We're not making a coincidence fit a situation. We had a beautiful example today, didn't we?
Yeah.
From the "What Hymn Do You Want Tomorrow?"
Yeah, it's
evolved a whole series of events, and you just sat there going, "Well, actually, this is not coincidence.
No, it's unbelievable.
This is, and this area was lovely. It really was. It was so lovely. So look for the subtleties, Sue. Look for the subtle things, and pay attention to them. Lisa Irving, welcome. So Lisa is asking, hi, could you please tell me how I could begin connecting to the spirit world? I feel like I've had a few messages, but don't know how to progress.
I would suggest her to either, I don't know where she lives, but if there is any spiritual group or spiritual center church in the area where she lives, it's always a good start to look into their development groups, their development circles. I mean, everyone goes back to churches and centers now at this time. And or if it's not working for you, see if you can find something online. I do know there's a lot of very, very good teachers who are teaching online, but there's also those lovely centers and churches who teaches development groups in the center and churches as well. And there is what I recommend you to start. And just listen to yourself. If it gives you a good feeling to be there, then it's the right place. If it's not giving you a good feeling in your intuition, then it's time to find another church. Never ever go against your intuition or your feeling, because it will tell you if it's the right place or the wrong place to be.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
And backing up fully that with Fredrik's comment, you know, if there is a spiritualist church or centre near where you are, see what sort of development opportunities there may be. Also look at awareness groups, Lisa, because that's sort of like one of the foundation levels, because this is about you. Before we start reaching out to contact to the discarnate, we need to actually be in touch with the incarnate. So a good, well-run awareness group will actually give you a solid foundation to go forward on. So yeah, have a look into that. And if you get stuck or anything, drop me a line, my darling. Sunderland. Oh, lovely Sunderland.
It's your area, Lawrence. I don't know anything.
Yes, I think I know one of them. Yeah. Pleasure, Lisa. Because you wonderful people have the ability to be the amazing people of tomorrow. And we've got to nurture you. The lovely Julianne Harper.
So that means you will be in contact with Lisa later on. To answer her where she can go.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
Be told. I'm getting told off for the week. Julianne Harper, my darling, thoughts out to you. During the lockdown periods, we still did our job. So I agree it was a good experience. Trusting and having faith in the spirit world made it work. It's no different. This, of course, is my opinion. And it's a lovely opinion, Julia. We've had the pleasure of Julianne bringing her gifts and talents to us in Poole, and love her to bits.
Yep.
Absolutely love her to bits. So thank you. Here we go, Myra. I agree that when giving a feedback to a developing medium, and honesty is a key, but it also depends on the awareness of the teacher, how they are able to do it in a compassionate and constructive way. I also see the teacher has to have enough experience of an area and mediumship which they are teaching to offer support to students. There are a lot of responsibility with dealing with sensitive souls, and yes, spirit is teaching suit.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with what Mira wrote.
Yeah.
So,
and that's interesting line there as well. There is a lot of responsibility because people are. When we came together as a group, very quickly, that energy was building up.
Yeah.
Very quickly. I remember saying to you of the second day, goodness, you know, when I've done a workshop before, the next day I'm normally hanging. I'm normally like, oh my God, I'm so tired. But I woke up and I was like, oh, come on, you know, I was absolutely bouncing on the energies.
No, it was a wonderful energy in the whole group, and the whole week has just been flying. And no, it has been amazing.
Yeah, but all those people are, because we're in that heightened state, there is that vulnerability that comes in. So yeah, the responsibility that the teacher, and you did it perfectly, and I'm not blowing smoke, you know that. You did it perfectly. You made everybody had your focus on them. You never gave any negative emotion out to anybody.
No.
You were always supportive. You were always encouraging. You were always honest as well, which a lot of people really appreciated.
Because when you're dealing with students or people, you have to take them from where they are in their development and not try to break them down and teach them from the beginning. I mean, if you have someone who is amazingly good with animal communication or animal healing, then my job as a teacher or tutor is to see how can I help this person to grow from where she is now.
Yeah.
And it's the same with everyone. You take them from where they are at this moment in time and see what you can do to help them further on in their development.
Yeah, and it certainly works. And you touch on an interesting phraseology there about taking them down, because I've seen that happen with some tutors of the past that I've studied under, where the whole energy is to break everybody back down and rebuild them. And that was actually said to me by one tutor. And I said, well, when I was 13, I took a clock apart, and when I tried to put it back together again, it never worked ever again. So I really don't think that your thinking process is quite valid.
I mean, it's all about helping them grow from where they are at this moment in time and bring them forward.
Oh, sorry, Margaret. Margaret's got technical issues, so she's going to have to leave.
Okay. Thank you, Margaret. It's lovely to have your presence here, and I'm looking forward to see you another time.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything you have done.
I know.
And for those who don't know, I should maybe not do commercial here, but I'm paid to do it.
Eh?
Yeah, I'm paid to do it.
That's all right.
Now, for those who wants to see good online demonstrations, Paul and Margaret Challenger has their online church every Wednesday evening, and Paul and Margaret's awareness something, and it's free to attend, and it's always good quality of the mediums. So
Yeah.
everyone is welcome.
Right. Advert over? Right.
Yep.
Now back to the main feature. I'm joking.
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you, Margaret. Margaret's just put into the comments box there the Zoom codes, and that's on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. And it is, I agree, because it's very well run and great energy with it. And Jamie, following up, he says, I agree, some teachers can be very destructive, and I feel in that situation is more about power and control. Interesting.
Yeah. I have to agree with Jamie, because if the teacher is insecure in the teaching and don't really know how to handle the situation, it's always easy to use the power and the control over people. But when you do that, you're always creating this disharmony in the group. Yeah. And as long as you are true and honest and treating everyone with respect, nothing can go wrong.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Mara, you again bring in an interesting thought there. Mara's saying, I also have experience that different teachers may give the different spiritual assessments. That can be confusing if a student is not able to discern. There's a lot in there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Very, very interesting. Thank you, Mira.
It is.
Because when you're finding a teacher or listening to a teacher, they can only teach from their own experience.
Yeah.
And their own experience that is in their consciousness or what they have gone through in their life, put an imprint of what they're going to teach when they work as a teacher. So therefore, you never ever will get the same teaching from two different mediums. And the same when it comes to private readings. When someone gives you a spiritual assessment, it will be how they understand your energy and everything that you carries and what kind of potential they see in you. And when you go to someone else, it might be they see a different ability within you, or see something different within you, something that you should look into. And then when you got an answer from two teachers, you might put the both together and understand in the end of it might be the same answer, or the same line where you should look into, but it's putting down to two different words. But most and foremost, when it comes to the spiritual assessment, you already know in which direction you should go, because if you're true and honest and listening to yourself, listen to your own inner voice, it will guide you much stronger than a spiritual assessment will do. But of course, it's always nice to hear someone else speaking about your spiritual assessment, and that's because they might see things that you haven't seen. But most and foremost, you know the answer yourself.
Yeah. If good cop, bad cop, good cop, bad cop. Just remember that.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. No, don't panic. There's a couple of things, Myra, and what you've written there. I'm not having a dig at you. I'm just generalising. Something I see quite often, people, their train of thought, sometimes you may want to go back and revisit that, just have another little thing. So you're just saying there that you're having different spiritual assessments. On that energy alone, with that, number one, I would say, well, how many are you having? Because to me, quite frankly, if I went to Fredrik or to Margaret or to Julianne for a spiritual assessment, I wouldn't go to anybody else for at least 6 months, to have one. Also, sometimes our perception, I think, of the spirit world is this all-knowing bubble that we can tap into. And it's not. It's another world the same as this. It's another world full of Frederiks and Lawrences and Jamies and Myras and Margarets, and each with our own opinion. And we each work with different people. So if you do keep going, so say have an evidential reading or a spiritual assessment, you're going to talk to different intelligences who will have their own viewpoint on it. You know, so you're not going to get the same answer every time, because Fredrik will tell you one thing and I may say and suggest something totally different, because you're getting all these opinions. So I would suggest going back with grassroots on it. If you're going to have the spiritual assessments, these are things, the ones we've been doing here, and it's a recent addition to what we do at Paul. Everybody has come out of them going, oh my God, I've got so much work to do, which to me is brilliant. I think that's the whole purpose of it. And off they go working with that. They're not going to come back next week and go, well, I'll have another spiritual assessment with him and see what he's got to say. You know, if you come out of an assessment with a full workload, crack on.
And what you said is very much what Neil Payne said as well.
Yeah. So Mark, you're just saying there, they've been given to you without asking. Well, then be polite and say thank you, but no thank you. So Cam, you've been an amazing teacher to me. Thank you, Fredrik.
Thank you.
What were you saying about Neil Payne?
No, it was Fadela. Yeah. I probably missed a few. No, right. It's there.
All right. Is that okay now?
Yep.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Neil. And it's pretty much was what Lawrence as myself was talking about either. But I also have to comment, because if you are in a student environment where you're practicing spiritual assessment, psychic readings, and mediumistic reading, it's in a teaching environment, and you can't compare those to those you book and pay for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because everyone who attend a workshop course are there to learn, to develop, and things should go wrong, things shouldn't work properly, because if they does, you're not in the right place. But when you book and pay for your assessment, then it should be a proper one without questions, because the spirit world will support you in different ways.
Mm. Yeah, because if I were to come to you, Fredrik, I want to book a spiritual assessment, next Friday, 2:00.
Yeah, and I will do my preparation for it.
Exactly. You would do your preparation, the spirit team would do their preparation, my spirit team would do their preparation on me, and go for it. In a teaching environment, that we're just working on strengthening those links and turning up the voltage.
Yeah. And
oh, sorry.
Yeah, and also working on the weakness within you, how they can work with you and teach you in the best way for what you're going to tell the person you're working with.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's bad things with spiritual assessment in a teaching environment, because we learn from them. But if you really wants to have a spiritual assessment, I think you should book one in a proper way.
Yeah.
With someone that don't know you.
Yes, somebody who doesn't know you and has got good lineage as
Yeah.
well. Julie Caswell, one of the Wombles. Are spiritual assessments a new thing? I've never come across them. Interesting, because
it's not a new thing.
Yeah. So, in your description, what would you say a spiritual assessment, and who's it aimed at?
I would say,
who would it benefit the most?
I would say those who working with a mediumship in one way or another, with a healing, with a mediumship, with a psychic art, everything under the umbrella of mediumship healing would be beneficial of a spiritual assessment. Because if you take John Peterson, sorry if I'm using that name and someone feel they have touched on them, but if you using a random person who just wants to know about themselves, they might just want to have a connection with their loved ones in the spiritual world. This John is not really interested in the spiritual assessment, because he's not going to wants to work with anything within the spirituality yet. What's happened in the future, who knows? But I would say spiritual assessments is more or less for those who are working under the umbrella of spirituality or mediumship.
Yeah, so just to sort of like clarify that spiritual assessment is, quite rightly, as Fredrik said, more for people who are already engaged on their whatever aspect of working with spirit path. So like with you, Julie, I know that you do your encaustic art. In a spiritual assessment that may be brought up. So you've got somebody there who doesn't know you, and then suddenly start talking to you about your encaustic art. That's evidential, because they don't know you. They don't know you do that, but the spirit world do. And they may be suggesting then that with that art there is room to develop, to start sketching maybe. To start applying yourself, go away and start learning how to draw properly. We had a spontaneous spirit art thing yesterday, and it was just wow. It
worked really well.
Yeah, it was really wow. So it's to develop your link with the spirit world, lovely Julie, and give you ideas and thoughts of going forward with it. Not to tell you what to do, just an idea. So, if I had one, they may say to me, I really suggest you just stop talking, Lawrence. And I probably agree with that, actually. And so would Fredrik as well.
No comments.
Yeah. Mark Bucknell, Mark, your account has been cloned, mate. I think there is 2 profiles for you. One has only got 2 photos on it. We just had friend requests from it, so we just blocked you. So obviously, anyway, sometimes I think we can lose ourselves by getting what we meant to do with too. I'll restart that. Sometimes I think we can lose ourselves with getting what we meant to do or with too much guidance. This is what happened to me over the years. So, are you saying there, Mark, that people have sort of like pushed your mediumship, you know, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, or whatever? Just clarify on that. That'd be lovely. So, oh, there's a lovely Julianne. Fredrik, you are a breath of fresh air. He's not. He's mean to me. He's been mean to me all week. I am now suffering from Stockholm syndrome, and not in a good way. Anyway, as I've known spiritual teachers badger their students and make them work in the same format, I agree with Jamie. Control makes a student fearful of their work. All students work on different levels and are on different levels of understanding. I treat my students with kindness, and I'm constantly telling them we are all learning every day. We work for the spirit world. I tell my clients that they have to wait 6 months until their next reading.
Yep.
Yeah. Very, very true. And that's some nice, sage, sensible advice. Because
I do the same.
Yeah.
The only difference is if they come to me for a psychic reading, and then a month later or 2 months later they have lost someone to the spirit world and really wants the connection with them, then I would do it. But I wouldn't want to see anyone.
No, not as a regular.
No,
not as a regular. And I do shy away from I am actually loving doing private sittings now, which is a complete sea change from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But in some environments, I find it difficult because I'll help out a church or an event and do private sittings and donate the time. I'm absolutely love doing that. But you see people booking up and go, oh, who have you got? Oh, well, put me in with him at 2 o'clock and him with 3 o'clock, and I want to go with her at 4 o'clock. Yeah. And you just think, do you know what? Us mediums should all get together and keep telling them the same story. Maybe they'll listen. You never know.
but you see, if they go with 3, I'm going to be rude here now.
No, surely not.
Yeah. If you book a reading with one medium, 2 o'clock and then 3 o'clock and then 4 o'clock, you will be so confused and have so many more questions. So you need to book a 4th reading to have conclusion of all the answers you received. So the mediums who are working that day will be very happy because they will take your money. No, yes. No, you should only have one reading each 6 or once a year, and you should listen to yourself when you're choosing the medium. Just because I'm saying Lawrence would be the best medium to go to, and I highly recommend him. That's because what he has told me resonates with me. But
oh, I got you. Sorry, yeah. I laughed then. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
no, I actually understood that. Now.
Yeah, but someone who listened to what I'm saying might think, oh, if Lawrence is that good, he will tell me everything. But that person, my friend, might have a feeling, no, this is not feeling right. But Fredrik said this medium is the best, so I go to the medium. But if you instead listening to what feels right for you and choosing the medium who resonating with you, that's the best advice I would give.
Yeah, very, very, very true. Thank you, Mark, for clarifying that. You have 2 profiles now. So you keep your normal work separately. Which is your normal work, Mr. Bucknell? Is that your spiritual life or is that your other life? Tell me which one is normal to you. Sorry, teasing Mark, yeah. But yeah, I get that.
Oh, that's lovely, Tim.
And here is the lovely Tim. if somebody books several sittings in the same day with different mediums, where is their trusted with spirit?
Yep.
How many times do they need to be told for remembrance what spirit is trying to inspire them with? Yeah.
But I totally agree with him. And many people go to mediums because they want to hear what they want to hear.
Mm.
They're not open to what spirit is telling them. They just wants to hear what they wants to hear. And the same with when you go for a psychic reading, you pay the medium to tell you what you already know.
Yeah.
To give you the answer that you have within yourself.
Yeah. No, that's very true. And again, it goes back. It's when we're in these open arenas for private sittings, we've got people who do not understand what we're about. You know, they do not understand the theory or the practice of the continuity of life. They do not understand and get that. So,
and I think it might have been with a course I attended with Tim in Sweden, where he said there will be a point where we need to teach the congregation, where we need to teach the sitters how to behave. And those words, I can't remember if it was where in Sweden it was, but I'm 100% sure it was from Tim. And those words have been stuck with me since then, because it was so accurate in what you were saying.
Yeah.
And when you do the introduction on the platform, and when you have someone to come for a private sitting for you, then it's a part of your explanation for your client, how you want them to be and how you want them to respond, and so on and so on.
Yeah. And very true, very true. Sadly, where over the years the churches and centres, and we're all guilty of it, everybody, have just focused on the message without any underpinning knowledge being given to the sitters or made available or as a side serving approach to it. And we need to be educating our congregations and our sitters. And that's, sorry if that sounded high-handed, or I didn't mean it to be, but there's got to be, you can tell the difference, can't you? If you go out and do a dem, right, I go and hire a hall where we were today, and you do a dem for a load of people who have had no exposure to spiritualism. Yeah. And then in the afternoon, you come back to Paul and you do a service here with a congregation full of people who have had all that exposure and have got that, and the difference between the two.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the difference between the two. So much, so much. Jamie Williamson, I think it's the same as happens. Therapists are also the recipient develops a dependency on the medium. Very true.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the worst thing who can happen is when you become too friendly with your recipients.
Yeah.
Or you allow them to be in contact with you no matter what.
Yeah.
Because when you're building up the friends relationship with them, just stop doing your mediumship with them. And choose, do you want to be friend with that person, or you want to give them private readings? Because you will reach a state where you will be very confused as a medium. Am I working from what I already know, or am I working for what I feel from the spirit world?
Yeah.
So just be aware.
Yep. Yeah, very good. Right, this question. I wasn't going to ask it. Keep the question down, the answer down to the maximum of 11 days.
What?
You'll understand in a minute. What are your thoughts, feelings about reincarnation?
So, okay. You want me to speak for 11 days here?
No, this is what normally happens. When we start talking about reincarnation, it's suddenly sets off this chain reaction.
Yeah. I'm very much aware of that. Myself, I'm a very strong believer in reincarnation in one way or another, by saying that I don't think if I'm human here, I would be an animal in the next life, and so on and so on. But I'm a strong believer in reincarnation, even so if I not can prove that I have been here before. But I think that's a progression of the human life. And also, if I have been a man here this life, I might be a woman the next life. It doesn't matter, because I still believe we are born again, and there is a purpose for it. And I highly, highly respect those who don't believe in reincarnation. And if you start a discussion about it,
No.
you will never stop, because you can find thoughts to speaks for you. You can find thoughts who speaks against you. So it's a never-ending story to go into the discussion. But my own true belief is reincarnation. That's my belief.
Brilliant. Thank you. Now, my thoughts on reincarnation is, was that past life my life, or was that a life? Hello. Maybe you don't want to hear my thoughts.
No, that was just a proof from the spirit world that I was right.
Well, oh, forget it. I'm not going down that route anymore. Where are we? Neil Payne. Neil, lovely Neil. So important to explain how a reading is conducted, what the purpose of a reading is about. This is what I do in my one-to-one work all the time, as many of you come for the wrong reasons. Yeah. Good. Jamie. I think there is an educational element in the philosophy, as well as inspirational. Yes. Yeah. Lisa, I often feel exhausted after being in a spiritualist church, sometimes lasting for days. Is there anything I can do to avoid this? Yes, eat healthily, love. Yeah. Give up the caffeine drinks. No, seriously.
Okay.
Without any further understanding of that, I really can't answer that. But you drop me a message. I'm always open to a discussion. Drop me a message. Even do a video call one day. Absolutely fine. So, hello, Tim. Right, Tim. I think we have to respect different people from different backgrounds, have different opinions and beliefs on reincarnation. Sue Townsend, this is all your fault. I'm going to come and find you. However, reincarnation is not the only way of spiritual development beyond physical death. For example, every medium has a guide who is not reincarnated. They are in the spirit world being a guide. Get the very fact that they are guides, they are the very fact that they are guides, they are spiritually developing. Yes? Yeah, true.
So, thank you, Tim. And I think when you start a discussion about it, people want to think what they are thinking is the right thing. And I think we have to be open to understand there's more opinions about this.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
seriously.
Be true to yourself and stay with it.
And lovely Francis Nolan. That's another name we recognise, isn't it? And she's just saying a very good point. I hope she's saying a very good point. We've actually put a very good pint. Do we have a pint yet? We haven't had a pint yet.
Not yet. The pub is still open.
Yeah. Hello, Francis. Hope you got home safely, my darling. Absolute pleasure being with you last week. Absolute pleasure. Well, what a lovely evening.
Wow, already gone an hour.
I know, an hour. Bing, bang, bong. Gone. Hold on. We've got another comment in there. Oh, Francis. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Lawrence.
Enjoyable evening again, Fredrik. And it's so nice to have you here in the Chesterfield chat.
Yeah.
Been absolute pleasure with you all this week. Oh, Moya, hello, darling. How are you? A great chat. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about me there.
Yeah.
Okay, not you.
No, I never get the word to say anything.
Yes. Wondering what are your thoughts regarding how best to encourage younger people into spiritualist churches? Right, we're on for another hour at least now.
So you can answer. Lawrence, you're younger than me.
I know. What's your thing?
I think we need to be more open-minded and see what attracts young people. Why would make them to go to a spiritual center and spiritualist church without have lost anyone to the spirit world? What can a center and a church do to attract people? Maybe have a discussion group or start a development in a joyful way for younger people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe to bring the spiritual in UK spiritualism is a religion, and I think we should stay away from the word religion until people are ready for it.
Yeah.
Because when we look in today, religion in itself should be one of the most beautiful words to use, because it's all about bringing like-minded people together, no matter what your belief system is, and we should all respect each other. But today is the totally opposite. So I think we should stay away from the word religion as we educate younger people. And of course, you can educate younger people in a joyful and understandable way in centers and churches as well.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
That's really good aspect.
Yeah. It's all about the willingness of those who running the centers and the churches. And I have no critics to people who sitting in the committees and things like that. But if people have been sitting in the committees for 40, 50 years and things, this is the way we should bring our committees and the churches and the center for another 50 years. I have to say, true and honest, they are the losers, because a young person would never go into that place.
Yeah. Or if they did, they would
run out.
Hollowness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if the committees are willing to see it from a different perspective and open up the centers and the churches for the generation of new spiritual people, the new mediums, the next generation of mediums, make it in a joyful and happy way, they have all to win.
Yeah. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, lovely Jack from Denmark. Danish people are lovely. Swedish people are mean. He said something and I went, I so like that. Moya, tell me, I just get the feeling, my love, that you are involved in the presentation of spiritualism in some field or another. But Jack came out and said something, and I thought, wow, with the Danish Spiritual Association, they used to go out and have meetings. And I didn't mean standing up there going, I've got your mother here, but philosophical talking meetings in coffee shops. So they're coming right out of the church environment.
Yep.
And talk about mountain won't come to Muhammad, then you know what? And I thought, what a good idea.
Yeah.
What a brilliant idea. Go out and do presentations, talk about spiritualism, metaphysical side of it, because that will be very engaging for the youngsters, because they're already on that route there, working with energies and things. So the metaphysical side would really ding.
Yeah, absolutely.
And talk about these things in the coffee shop environments. And just to sow that seed, because that's what we've got to do. That's all we do with our work, isn't it?
Mhm.
We are continually sowing seeds. And we haven't got to stand there watching it and cultivate it. We just sow our seeds and see where it goes. If the person takes to it, great. If they don't take to it, great.
Mhm.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Moira.
yeah. Yeah, but I really, really did like that idea of just going into coffee shops.
Yeah.
And having a talk. You know, and I'm sure your local coffee shops would love that if they, you know, they're going to advertise on your behalf.
Yeah.
And say we've got a guy here who's going to be talking about XYZ, you know, and they get people coming in having a cup of coffee, and
Exactly.
we get to interact with people outside. You know, we do have this little every now and then. People say, "Oh well, the word church, you know, turns everybody off." Well, no, it doesn't. It turns some people off.
Yeah.
It doesn't turn everybody off. And as the lovely Tim, who's in the room, pointed out on a couple of occasions, and I wholeheartedly applaud it. He said, you know, spiritualists went through 7 gates of hell to get spiritualism recognised as a religion.
Mm.
There was so much work and protests and everything to get spiritualism recognised as a religion, and now we're running around saying, "Oh, let's get rid of all the churches." You know, just whoa, hang on, let's take a little sense check here.
And I mean, UK is so blessed because it's recognized as a religion here.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I see in my country, Sweden, the spiritualism isn't a religion. We don't have the philosophy. We don't have it built up as you have it here, unfortunately, because that would open the eyes of so many people to see it from a different perspective.
Mm. Yeah, but I'm certainly. You know, oh, he's still in. Jack's still watching. He normally just puts hello and then he goes off.
Yeah.
Goes and has ice cream or something. So Jack was saying we made the church environment into a coffee shop. Yeah, brilliant. I love that. I really seriously do. I think there is a lot of mileage in a lot of our churches and centres to look into that. Thinking, you know, just to take the people. It makes perfect sense actually, and it's so simple. The youngsters aren't coming into our churches. Okay, take the churches out to the youngsters. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, it's brilliant. It can't be that simple, but actually, it is. It seriously is. Anyway, well, there you go. Lisa, Irving, we need a coffee shop like that in Sunderland. We'll get down to your local church or centre and say, go on, you lot. How about giving a talk in a coffee shop? Let's go wild. That weird bloke down on the south coast, you said it would be a good idea.
Yeah, you will have plenty of work, Lawrence.
Anyway, everybody, thank you. Absolutely wonderful night. And thank you, Fredrik.
Thank you.
Yes. You can see Fredrik actually working tomorrow, live online. How exciting is that? We stream our church services for you to view only at home. So there's no interaction between the church and people watching out there in the virtual world, but we welcome you to just join in, watch, listen to the philosophy, and just get an idea of what happens in a church, spiritualist church.
Yes.
With a wonderful demonstrator. And I do mean him. I'm not going to make a joke there because I seriously mean him because he is. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful, peaceful, blessed night. Take care. Lots of love. And we shall see each other again soon.
Thank you very much, everyone.